Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to change the incline controller or power board. This is a little more difficult to do than some of the other things on it, but I'm going to kind of walk you through it and I think we'll be okay at the end of the video. So the power board is located down here, but we're still going to have to go to the other side of the machine and remove all the screws to the elliptical, just like we did in some of the other videos for changing the gear motor. So we're going to take our Phillips head screwdriver. Now I've cheated a little bit and removed most of them. As you can see, they're sitting right here. So you're going to go through the effort of removing all of them. Alright, so this kind of opens up here like this. You have to loosen each one of these screws down along the bottom and on the other side. We'll get to that on the other side. Here is our gear motor that we replaced last time, but this time we have to go a little deeper into the machine. Alright, so again, where we have to go is down inside of here. Here's where the incline controller is. So if you've diagnosed your problem and your incline's not working, or you have no power going to your console, it's a very good chance it's your incline controller down here. When you call Sol or some of the other reps, you'll find that that's usually one of the first things that they have you do. It's just kind of difficult to get to, but we're going to walk you through it. All right, so we need to open this little side cover up right here, and we'll put that out the way right there because we're going to need to loosen this up. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our 12mm socket. Which one is that? Half inch, usually close enough. And we're going to remove this bolt right here. Calls for a 12mm. I just used a half inch and it just worked just fine. So I'm going to put this back here just so I don't lose it. If I have the skills, there we go. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out this bolt right here. So once we get this screw out right here, I'm going to place this on my little mat. I'm going to come over here and we're going to physically remove this arm. Similar to if you look on the video for how to maintenance one of these things. So we'll remove this and we are down to that right there. Alright? So for this case we don't really need this. I'm going to go ahead and get it out the way. Stick it right there. So again, we're working towards this. We haven't removed this cover yet, and we're going to try and avoid removing this cover because that's just additional work that you have to do. Alright, so either way this has to come off. If you notice, we still cannot see the controller. So the next thing we need to do and that is half inch or 12mm also. So let's get over here on this. Give that a little bang there. Remove that like so. Alright, so now all this is out. The main thing we need to do now is we need to get these two bolts off of here. Got to get those nuts off of there. I think they're either 12 or 13 also. Let's see. One nice and tight. Alright, so the outside one is loose. Then there's one more inside here that kind of locks it in place. This one's usually even tougher. I see a lot of times they call for gear pullers and all that kind of stuff on this, but usually I found that not to be needed. Alright, so now we're just going to let this flop back. So far we haven't even bothered to remove this. I think just one extra step we don't need. So wiggle this off like this. And there we go. Alright, so we're going to put this over here out the way. We won't need that for a little while. Then just to get this out the way, we'll come over here like this And so this is where we're going, guys. We're going down to this board right here. This is the power board, and this is also the power board for your incline. Sends a signal up to the console. Incoming power comes in here, all right? This actually gets damaged more often than what people really think because of sweat. Sweat comes down through here, hits this board, not really good, all right? So most of these wires you can't mix up really too much. It's just these two reds, so I usually recommend marking one of these. So we will mark this board, or this wire right here, like so. And then we will also put it over top of the terminal, like so we can't get it mixed up, all right? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to clip this wire harness off right here. So far, so good. Clip that little wire harness off right there. And we're kind of good on that. Now, pretty much the rest of these, like all these clips, these can only really fit in one way. Now, for some reason, and a lot of manufacturers do this really, put a lot of glue on these and they're a little difficult to get off. So you get a knife or something and start picking away at that glue like that, and then it'll come out much easier. This is pretty much one size, very difficult to get it mixed up with a different kind of wire, all right? So next one down here, come across here like this, pull that one out, all right? Again, it's a completely different size. This one's in between these two, so it's difficult to make a mistake on this. It's just the red wires that are all the same. I like to mark one of them so we don't have to worry about that. All right, so ta-da, we got all the difficult wires out. All right, so now these clip out pretty good. They're not usually glued in there. This one comes out usually pretty easy, just like that. Alright, so this was the other one of the two red wires that we were worried about. We've marked one. We know that goes back there. This one goes here. Alright, so we're just going to tuck them out of the way. We're just going to get on our nerves. This set of red, white, and black, this is the incline power. And it's usually marked on that, so you don't have to worry too much about that. You could do the same thing with one of these if you want. Since I don't have another piece of tape with me, I'm going to just pick the black wire. So the black goes down there, and we'll pick on green for the red. All right? But some way to identify it if you're uncomfortable with just taking it out. All right, so the next step we need to do is either we need to get our screwdriver, remove these screws here. I'm going to use this drill gun just to kind of speed it up a little bit so I'm not here all day with you guys. Got an issue. This on hammer drill. Hopefully you won't run into that. That'll make it more difficult to get the screw out. Alright, so that screw is being difficult to get out. So let's see what happens here in real time. So what I would do on a job site is I would take this side out. Means that this seal here is really tight down on this screw. So I'm going to wiggle this board back and forth. This is just how I would resolve it out in the field. Alright, so we couldn't get that screw out. Not a big deal. We're going to walk right through it. Alright, so this is the board that we want to replace right here. Here are the wires that we were concerned about. This is a slightly different color board and a different board, so I'm not going to really change this. I'm just kind of showing this to you as an example. The next thing I would do is you can see they say up, common, and down, and these three will be marked with that. So you would just swap this board out for that board. I'm going to put that back right there. Then you would just go back through the install procedures all over again. these three are on here, you can just take this and just right back underneath here like so. Let's see if just moving it around. Look at that. So that broke that seal. Now that screw is good to go. So we won't need it on such a harsh setting anymore. They were hard to get out, so I'm not putting them back as tight as they were. I don't need them that tight. All right, so here's our incline wires reinstalled for us. You know, back on the same board, different board, so I didn't really want to waste it just for that example. Again, the most important wires are these two reds. This one is not marked with black. This one is marked with black. We'll take this off, put it right here. Now, if you were to change the board, you could do the same thing here. When you marked it, you would just put your black mark right there or whatever color scheme that you want to use. All right? Makes it a lot easier. If you hook these up backwards, it just makes the incline work backwards. It doesn't really ruin anything. It's the two incoming reds, that is the incoming AC, positive and negative. So they just don't mark it. I don't know why, but it's the one thing you need to kind of keep your eye on. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, hook that transformer up there. Hook that transformer up there. This is the encoding wire for the incline motor itself. So we're going to come over here. Plug that back in right there. Again, these two are completely different sizes, so you can't really mix them up too much. This one would look completely wrong to go inside of there. All right. So I'm going to come back over here. Line that up right there. Push that in there just like that. Then we're going to come over here to our last one. Come over here, just like that. Take a little tie wrap this back down, just like so. This would be up to you, but I would recommend putting a tie wrap back on it. Doesn't look like it really would hit anything, but better safe. All right, like so. Clip this off. All right, so really, in theory, that is the complete deal on taking out and putting in this power board / incline controller. It's a little more difficult. You saw you had to kind of get to it. You saw me go through some difficulties in getting out the screw. That kind of worked out really good, because a lot of times when you see videos like this, it goes by really smooth, like it's been pre-set up. This is an older machine. I just got it a couple of weeks ago on some of the other videos. So that's what it takes to do it sometimes. Some of these screws get stuck down inside of there. So if you have any issues or anything with what you're doing and changing yours, you can always contact us on Facebook. Just leave me a little message of what your issue is, maybe how far you've gotten into it and you need some help or something like that. Or maybe you can't find the parts, we can supply you the part. But either way, you can contact us if you need a little extra help. All right? So this cover is going to work its way back here like this. All right? I always like to use this to kind of hold it in place. Now for you, if you're going to complete this job, you just leave this open like this. So I am not going to fully complete this job, because I plan on doing more videos with this machine, and I plan on doing it with everything completely tore apart. So I don't want to put it too far back together, because then I just got to take it back apart again. It just goes in here like this. There's supposed to be a little keyway. Come a little closer on that. A little closer. So this little piece of keyway fell. You'll know if you're missing your keyway. It is the thing that actually keeps these two pieces together. All right. So we're going to take that, put that in there. I'm not even going to bother tightening those bolts out, because I'm going to take it apart again for another video. So come over here like this. Hold these roughly together right here like this.